Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Hope you're doing well today. Thank you so much for being here as always. It's always good to know that when I start these videos that you're sitting down at your home in your kitchen, living room, bedroom, work perhaps, and we've got a whole network here of women who are just helping each other along this journey. Getting into our 60s and 70s is quite fun and lots of challenges, but I feel better knowing that you're there, and I hope that you feel the same. Anyway, I'm having my cup of tea this morning and I'm continuing my saga of the happiness teas. Now, honestly, I never cease to amazed by the way people market their and sort of brand their goods. But I picked up this box of tea. It was the last one on the shelf. They were like clearing them off, and I've never seen it before. It says happiness is, and then it says Probier mal or Probier mal. It's German, but I looked it up, and the English translation for that is try it. So try it, try happiness, try the tea. And then every little there's like assortment in the box, and this one is a turquoise color, and it says happiness is. Now I got my translate tool, and I translated the blue, and it says translate is pure lightness. This is what this one is, pure lightness, and it says it is best to discover that less may be more. Often do small things to bring great luck. Now, that's probably a little bit of a weird translation, but it's a tea of lightness, and it's all about having less and doing more, which is, of course, the theme that we talk about on 60 and Me quite a bit, because a lot of women in their 60s and 50s, 60s, 70s are trying to focus their attention on other things and removing some of the superfluous things around them. And anyway, this is the lightness tea. So I put it in a green mug so I could have a little bit of nature next to me this morning. And so cheers, everybody. I hope that you've got a tea or coffee. Maybe you've got a happiness tea of your own that you love. But anyway, topic today, interesting theme that I think we all think about this. And one of our bloggers, Suzanne Falter, wrote this article, and it touched me a lot. And you'll understand as I start to talk about it. But she got to the essence of something that I think is so incredibly important. And we all know that expression: life can change on a dime. Things just happen 1 minute and then everything is different. And I probably all of us in this community have had one or two or 10 things like that happen. But Suzanne said that she was dealing with acceptance of being almost a 60-year-old woman. She was 59, and everything was going fine. Retirement was on the horizon, and she was just relaxing into it, just trying to imagine what life was going to be like. And then something happened. What happened was her daughter died. Her daughter was 22 years old. Her daughter's name was Teal, and Teal died. And you can only imagine what that does to a mom. And I know many of you have had losses in your lives of your children and grandchildren, and my heart goes out to you sincerely. I don't even know what you must have gone through. But Suzanne, of course, was stricken by grief. And she said she spent the next few years of her life as a grieving mom. And she just couldn't really snap out of it. She was trying to basically work through it, become wiser and deal with her loss. And, Suzanne, it just goes without saying how sorry we are that you had to go through that. But what I love about Suzanne's story is that, like all of us would, I think, or at least try to, she tried to pull herself back in a way where she had more wisdom, more understanding, and she was a different person, of course, without her daughter. But there she was. Here's the mindsets that she laid out, that she kind of got her through this. And I don't know how many years ago this was, Suzanne, but it's all relevant. So the first phrase is, it's all good. She actually used to hate that phrase. I don't like it that much either. But it's a pat little phrase. Oh, it's all good. Everything's all good. Well, sometimes it isn't all good. Something happens and it's just not okay. It's not good. But in her case, she said, every time there is something that's a negative thing, there is a goodness in it. Something comes from it. Even if it's just a muscle, building a strength, building a resilience, building an empathy with other people who have been through the same thing. I mean, this is not an easy one to deal with. The loss of a child is horrible. And it's hard to say it's all good. But she said her daughter's death let her strip away her overworking, persona, her what she calls a false persona. This is the work mother, the person who was always strong, always invincible. She had to strip that away. She wasn't. She was something else. And in that vulnerability, something really beautiful happened, which is she met a man and they fell in love and he became the love of her life. Okay, tell me that's not beautiful. It may not have worked out that way. You may have had a situation that like nothing like that happened, but in this case, it worked out for the best. The second thing was that this phrase of "we're not alone," and she said that that was the opposite of how she felt when it happened. She felt so alone, devastated, and frightened, and she hid in her world for a while. Then she got out. And she went out to a Thanksgiving dinner one day, she said, and just helped with the meal and just suddenly started to feel like, hey, I'm not the only one that's got challenges and problems. And there's friendly people everywhere if you just look and if you open your heart. And the third thing she says, which I think is a great mantra for survival in these situations, is it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. I'm going to have a little sip of water. Just a second. Yeah, it's okay to ask for help. If you're the always, I'm tough, I can do it, I can cope type of woman, sometimes it's not always that case. And it's good to reach out and say, hey, I need help. And she says that in her case, support came from everywhere. Her family, caring friends, support groups. No one can walk in your shoes in that situation. No one. But she said that the support emerged naturally and beautifully, and she asked for it, and she got it. And I think she said it probably wouldn't have happened if I had not reached out and asked for it. And at some point, she said I had to surrender. I just had to surrender. And she makes the point, which I think is quite true, is as we get older, we are maybe a little bit more vulnerable. We have more friends that leave us, more people that physically and emotionally. And we sometimes have that sense of being very vulnerable and alone. And she said, hey, this is the thing, you've got to ask for help and enjoy when it comes. Another thing she says is to become street smart. And just by definition, the only way you can get that is being on the street, on the street of life, and not be afraid to walk again. It's that classic, when you have an accident, you've got to get back in the car, you've got to get back in the plane, you've got to try to relearn. And she said that in that time since Teal's death, she's learned so much about life and learned how to grow and be strong by doing. It's a powerful lesson, but it's so true. And the other thing that she says, which is like in closing, I think is, again, very, very powerful. And that is, it's okay to be taken care of and to know that we deserve good care. Things have happened in our lives in our 60, 70, 80 years that were hard. There's a world spinning around us. Young people who are building their own lives, your children having their own family, dealing with their own challenges and their own lessons on the street of their lives. But we've done a lot. We've done enough that it's probably okay, painful as it might be in some cases. Take a step back and say, hey, let's make me the highest priority. Okay? Everybody else is a big priority, especially children and family and friends who you've been close to all your life. But this is the time, according to everybody that I've spoken to about this is the time to put yourself first. Put your oxygen mask on first. That's why they always say, don't they, on the planes? Because now we get it. We understand. And we need to be in our best health and our best emotional and psychological state to have a great rest of your life. Hey, you've looked after everybody all your life. It's time now. Just take care of you. So I think this is a great story from Suzanne about her own personal loss, also her personal growth. And I wish her all the happiness in the world. And I think, as she says at the very end of this article, that aging is return to our own intrinsic power. That we go back to who we are, what's important to us, put ourselves first, make ourselves the highest priority, and enjoy the rest of your beautiful life. So, hope that you enjoyed that story. I found it very, very powerful. I think it's As soon as I read that article, I actually went to the deck of cards because I wanted to sort of, get some inspiration. And the one that, I just picked up, be proud of your age. That was the first one. And that was, I think, in a way, the most powerful message is be proud. Be proud of what you can accomplish, of who you are and what you can do. It's no good hiding it. Yes, it's just a number, but it's a big number. It's an important number. So I think it's important to reflect on what Suzanne's teaching us here and hopefully get some benefit from a loss that you might have experienced. So, what do you think? Have you had any situation like this that you'd like to share? And what techniques have you used to turn a hard lesson into something positive? Please share your comments in the section below. I always love reading them, and you can help other people too. Thanks, Suzanne, for writing and sharing, and I hope that you all have a fabulous day wherever you are. Just know that you're in my heart, and I love you all, and really take good care of yourselves, okay? Bye-bye for now.